You mentioned Noah Ohio, Lewis Dobbin, Carlos Forbes. What was the reaction?
I remember Carlos specifically
Yeah.
told me that it was a bit of a hard watch for him. He said he doesn't really like, not talking about, but experiencing maybe some of the things I went through. Of course, when you shared a lot of time with your friends, you sometimes feel the things they do, vice versa. He was happy that I was able to come on, but he wasn't happy with some of the things I shared in terms of the things that I'd been through.
How do you navigate that then when your friends are not happy with what you've done?
Well, I said to him, look, we're here now. All these things happen for a reason. And you can see I'm doing well. You can see that clearly it's happened for the better. And I'm on the up. I'm on the rise. So it's good. Noah was happy. He commended me. Likewise with Lewis. They all three of them gave positive feedback.
When looking back at the interview, do you have any regrets or anything like that with anything you shared?
No, 100%. I'd do it the same and more. If we were to do it again.
Well, I've left football now. Now what? Because you get a lot of it wrong.
Yep.
Finances go down the drain, mental health goes down the drain. What would you recommend and say to them?
I'd say whilst you're in the game, prepare for what's next 100%. I know people do it, but maybe not enough. Maybe they don't have enough support, and so that's why they don't do it. Another thing is, don't tie your identity, like who you are, to the game, because it's finite, which means one day it comes to an end. I'd put your hope and identity and trust in something that isn't, something that would last forever. But to sum it up, I would say, yeah, definitely prepare way before you think you're going to leave. That will show you that most players, after leaving the game up to a certain time, they end up being bankrupt. So if that's not enough to spur you on, then they say experience is the best teacher.
Welcome back to Christian Catch Up. I am your host, Chloe Knight, and today I have an amazing guest. He has been here before, so he is family. Now, naturally, please like, share, and subscribe. But of course, please follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Now, without further ado, Kwaku Oduroh. Hello, how are you?
We're doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a minute since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Amazing. How have you been?
Yeah, doing well. I've been working away, doing my thing. Overall, I'd say I'm optimistic at the moment. Yeah, it's been a good year last year. The year started smooth as well, but there's work to be done. I'm feeling good.
Amazing. Now, this interview is going to be slightly different. It's almost like a part 2 to the last one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start this one with, when did you realise you weren't too far gone to be saved by God?
Yeah, great question. You know what? I thought about this, and my answer would be being in situations when I was maybe younger or before I was saved, and still being able to feel something from my conscience or that voice. The voice that tells you, okay, this is right or this is wrong, and essentially not having a hardened conscience, knowing that, okay, there is still hope. I may not be doing the right things right now, but I know that there's hope, there's redemption for me. I know I'm not perfect, but yeah, I feel like I can't pinpoint a moment, but there are times in my life where I've been like, okay, God is still at work here. I know we're going on a journey.
Yes, talk to me a bit about, you mentioned Noah Ohio, Lewis Dobbin, Carlos Forbes. We mentioned them in the past interview.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned them. What was the reaction?
Yeah, I remember Carlos specifically told me that it was a bit of a hard watch for him.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't really like, not talking about, but experiencing maybe some of the things I went through. Of course, when you shared a lot of time with your friends, you sometimes feel the things they do, vice versa.
Yeah.
And so he was happy that I was able to come on, but he wasn't happy with some of the things I shared in terms of the things that I had been through.
How do you navigate that then when your friends are not happy with what you've done?
Well, I said to him, look, we're here now.
Yeah.
All these things happen for a reason. And you can see I'm doing well. You can see that clearly it's happened for the better. And I'm on the up. I'm on the rise. So it's good. Noah was happy. He commended me. Likewise with Lewis. They all all three of them gave positive feedback, to be
That's
fair.
great.
Yeah.
When looking back at the interview, do you have any regrets or anything like that with anything you shared?
No, 100%. I'd do it the same and more, if we were to do it again.
Amazing. Now, we're focused on part two now. We
Yeah.
want to see a bit more delving into you. Of course, you have a very detailed past, and we've got into that, but I want to talk about now. So tell me, what's your life like today?
Yeah. Currently,
Yeah.
my role would be in life insurance, but life insurance sounds boring, so I don't really say life insurance. The best way to describe what I do know is I help people, individuals and families, and put policies in place that would safeguard their finances and their future against unforeseen circumstances. People may not want life insurance, but I'm sure they'd want and need the peace of mind. I'm not bound to a location in terms of work. I have a lot of time freedom. So in terms of what my life looks like now, is kind of the idea I had when coming out of the game.
You're self-employed though, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, that's great. I bet you needed that too, because football's so freeing.
Yeah.
You're in charge about what you're doing on the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got your manager there, but they can't exactly say take 2 steps to the left.
Yeah.
Did you think it was a bit like I couldn't be under a manager where they're micromanaging you?
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. I've come out of an industry where it's very regimented, the schedules, this. And now I feel like I have more leeway in terms of how I want to work. I don't feel under pressure from anybody to have to be anywhere or have to do something. Of course, we set standards for ourselves, but like you said, I do have more freedom in terms of how I want to live my life.
Because you work with Aaron, who's also your mentor, and you say you attribute to a lot of things that you are becoming, a lot of great things, like successful man that you are. What do you think he's poured into you especially?
Yeah, I think the main thing was his belief in me. And perhaps it was something that maybe I didn't see in myself, which I'd say is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I do believe in myself, but he also gave me that extra belief. I know he's confident in me. Likewise, he trusts me, but he's given me a different perspective on how I can possibly look at my life going forward. It's beyond motivation. I think motivation fades. It's more of consistency and new habits that we've adopted, and yeah, it is definitely shaping the kind of person I'm becoming and the kind of person I want to be.
Because let's be honest, like you weren't the first to leave football behind, and you're not going to be the last. So what's something you want to pour into others when they're like, oh, well, I've left football now what? Because you get a lot of it wrong.
Yeah.
Finances go down the drain, mental health goes down the drain. What would you recommend and say to them?
I'd say whilst you're in the game, prepare for what's next 100%. I know people do it, but maybe not enough. Maybe they don't have enough support, and so that's why they don't do it. Another thing is, don't tie your identity, like who you are, to the game, because it's finite, which means one day it comes to an end. I'd put your hope and identity and trust in something that isn't, something that would last forever. But to sum it up, I would say, yeah, definitely prepare way before you think you're going to leave, and you won't go too far wrong.
How do you have that conversation without bursting the bubble? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, oh, you're not going to be the next Ronaldo, so put the money away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want you to fall flat on your feet and be a bankrupt. Do you know what I mean? When you're 20 odd. So how do you have that conversation? What would you say to somebody?
It's hard. It definitely is hard, but stats will show you that most players, after leaving the game, up to a certain time, they end up being bankrupt. So if that's not enough to spur you on, then they say experience is the best teacher. And I know nobody wants to end up in that situation, but that's the best you can do.
So talk to me. What do you think people get wrong when leaving football? What would you say there's one thing that you've learned and said, do you know what? I got that completely wrong. And if you had a little brother, he was like 16 and he was playing for City and things like that, what would you say to him?
I think it goes back to what I said about tying your identity to footballer. So when people leave the game, they still think I'm a footballer.
Yeah.
And so I need to do what footballers do. Wear this, drive this, spend this, go here. And you can't do that.
Do you think that's the reason why so many of them, like, there's a financial collapse almost after they've gone to that, because there's such a pressure to be wearing? You know, we see people like Rashford who wear like these amazing clothes and they look great, but there's also a pressure for the younger kids to be like, oh, I need to wear the next Louis Vuitton jacket and things like that.
Yeah, it's a pride thing, isn't it? It's like, I'm so used to being the man in my eyes. I'm so used to living this kind of lifestyle. I can't see anything apart from, all these things that I used to do. And breaking free from that mold is the hard thing, and it's where people go wrong a lot of the time.
So we've got people like you, Aaron, John Bostock, Dave, like you've all succeeded in football, you know, and that's fantastic. And a lot of people will look at you as like, you have this secret kind of like unknown knowledge or group chat that people aren't a part of that's made you successful, you know? So just tell me a little bit about what do you think you three have in common that have made you the success that you are and that you are becoming?
I think straight away when you said those names, I mean, first of all, I'm privileged to be in that list.
Yeah.
In that list, I'm on my way, which is the most important. But the first thing that came to mind is, I think all three of us could see life after football, knowing that we aren't just footballers, like we are human beings first. And so seeing beyond that, I guess, allowed us to plan beyond that and also not tie our identity to what we were doing at the time. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And from that, obviously, springs many things. But, you know, having that mindset helps you on the way.
I love what you said there. You said the word plan. What are some like actionable steps that you would say or give to a younger person to be like, oh, I can tell you to take your identity away from football, but here's how to do it. I love when people give like, you know, like an A to B plan. Yeah. It's like when some people say like, just trust in God. And it's like, that's amazing, but like, tell me how to do this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Is it prayer? Is it fasting? All these kinds of things. So what are some actionable steps that they could take?
In the immediate, I would say spend some time in a different environment. Not just football. Maybe go and do some work experience somewhere, take a course, learn something new. Because if it's just football, and that's all you know, when that day comes when you do stop and you spend all that time doing just football, you're going to struggle. So for me, the basic thing is getting the boys or the players in different environments to, get a taste for what they may like, what they may not like.
So habits are key and they compound over time.
Yeah.
And they're the reason why people are in the position that they're in 99% of the time. So what habits do you hold still to this day? And what new habits have you built so you could be the man that you are or are becoming?
Yeah, great question. Me and Aaron talk a lot about winning habits and how they're going to shape the person you're going to be or your future. Habits that I've always had would have been exercise, prayer, of course. But this year specifically, and a bit in the last year, I'm looking at self-development. So that could be reading, watching video content on YouTube about maybe someone in my industry. So someone who's doing what I'm doing already has been successful. Mm-hmm. Something as simple as 15 minutes a day, 18 minutes a day. I think there's a stat that says doing it 66 days consecutively, 18 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, allows you to then build that habit. So it's part of your routine now. Me and Aaron talked a lot about replacing entertainment for inspiration.
Wow.
So it could be the 30 minutes I spend on YouTube watching a video just for entertainment, maybe half it. Use 15 minutes to read a book, use 15 minutes to take in podcast content from someone in my industry. Yeah.
That's amazing. So obviously Aaron plays a big part in your life. Do you think it's important to have a mentor then?
100%. 100%. the reason I say 100% is because anything that you're going to do that's going to be great, you can't do it alone. Specifically, if your mentor is in the field that you're in, or if they have lived experience in somewhere you want to go, learning from the things that they didn't do means you might miss out on some of the mistakes that they made, which is good. Yeah.
Do you ever want to put yourself in a position where you could be a mentor to somebody else then?
100%. Aaron saw something in me and decided he wanted to work with me. And likewise with him, it would have been the same with him. Someone saw something in him, they wanted to work with him. And so it's about having an impact. And he talks about this a lot. I also want to be able to give back to someone what I was given and more.
Tell me the nitty gritty. How did you meet, you and Aaron?
Honestly, it's a long one, but
You've got time, girl.
I regularly used to meet in the year I wasn't playing football with my old under-21s coach, Brian Barry Murphy, who's now at Cardiff. And we would just meet and talk about life updates. And it was at the time I had decided, okay, I feel like I'm ready to step away now from the game. And essentially, Brian said, okay, what's next? And I didn't really know. I was saying to most people at the time, I have an idea what I'd like my life to look like, but I don't know exactly what role I want to go into. And so he put me in touch with a good friend of his, Joe Thompson. And Joe and I spoke. Again, the conversation was like, what's next? You need to get back on your feet. You need to start earning. And then Joe put me in touch with Aaron. So through Brian, then Joe, I then met Aaron.
It's really all about who you know, isn't it?
Honestly,
yeah.
Tell me about it. And Aaron basically was like, okay, this is what we do. He didn't force anything on me. He was just like, this is what we do. It could be good for you. And essentially, for me, it was about, does it align with my morals, who I want to be, where I want to go, how can I impact people's lives with this kind of role? And I think it fits. So that is how I met Aaron. I've known him for just over a year now.
Well, a lot's happened in a year then.
A lot has happened, yeah, 100%. A lot has happened.
Wow, because obviously you will know a lot more about football than me. I just about know the offside rule. So it's just like, but just tell me a little bit about, obviously this being a Christian podcast, why do you think so many footballers lose their faith along the way?
Temptation can be one of the things. You're being tempted with the things of the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, the gospel is everything the world isn't, right? And it's very, very easy to fall into that trap because it could be things like money, fame, power, all the things that you can get now physically, which are finite and will run out one day, but the human nature is fallen, right? So it does make sense to fall into those things. It's harder to go against it, but I feel like that's where a lot of footballers have gone wrong. The easy or quick wins, which would be, like I said, the money, fame, all these things, yeah.
How would you tell them to come back to God, or what things could be put in place to bring these young men back to God?
It's a difficult one, but I'd say going back to the word is always a good starting point. It sounds easy to say. It sounds easy to say. Somebody that has millions who thinks they did it on their own. It's a hard thing for them to be like, let me go back to the word. But essentially, I think I heard this somewhere. Life is designed to always bring you back to God. It could be through pain of loss. It could be through success.
Yeah.
But it's different. Everyone has their own time. It is very difficult. I don't really think I have the answer or the exact solution. I have an idea of how you could to answer the question.
Would it be fair to say that it's going to be different to each and every person? It's not going to be a one size fit all.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone's unique in their own way, and God made us all uniquely, and so He has like different relationships with every single one of us, and He can work through absolutely anything.
And just to conclude it, tell me a little bit, what do you think you're doing now that says, you know what, I glorify God?
Yeah. So I speak to a very good friend of mine about this maybe like once a week, to be fair. So this is what I'm trying to say. At the end of our time, we're going to be asked, with what we were given, what did we do with it? And so I believe with the talents and gifts and skills I've been given, I'm using that to impact other people. I'm basically multiplying my talents, right? I'm not wasting it. And so I feel like in my work, in my worship, it is all worship. In what I do and in what I choose not to do, it's all glorifying the name of God. It's something I pray, like, let everything that I do bring glory to God's name. And so I'd say that's how I'm glorifying his name.
Oh, amen. Honestly, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you very much.
You know, you're like one of my favorite people in the entire world, so thank you, thank you. Please join us again next week, same time, and you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and also Apple Podcasts. And then again, please follow us on TikTok and Instagram. And please, a lot of you don't actually subscribe to this channel, so please, please subscribe so we can grow the kingdom. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.